Joining us now is Rob Bluey, President and Executive Editor of The Daily Signal, one of the few outlets keeping the pressure on the Harris-Biden administration for their complete absence here. Rob, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Chanel. It's great to be back with you today.
Why do you think the administration gets a pass in this instance? It's clearly a disaster. People are suffering, and the optics are not ideal. You have the leadership, Biden and Harris both, not exactly front and center here.
They're not. And frankly, this is what the American people expect when you have a disaster of this nature. You want to see the president reassuring the people that are affected directly by this. The fact that Joe Biden was at the beach this weekend when the devastation was at its worst, I think sent the wrong message. The fact that Kamala Harris did her own photo op from the plane, similar to that incident you recalled from 2005 with George W. Bush. Remember, that photo did more to damage the rest of George Bush's second term than perhaps anything else that happened to him while he was in the White House, and yet the media just glosses over it. Now, there are outlets like yours and ours that want to bring that to the forefront of the American people so that they can realize that our leaders are failing them. The fact that you have FEMA, which has one responsibility, it's supposed to have one responsibility, and it cannot adequately deliver the aid that the people in those communities need right now, in part because they've been distracted by climate change efforts, DEI, and helping illegal aliens in other parts of the country. The American people should be outraged, and that's for good reason. And I think that you're going to see civil society organizations, frankly, have to step up in this time of need because the government is failing.
No, I see that. I hear that. I have contacts on the ground. They're private, special operators who are stepping up to the plate, and they're having to do the job of the federal government, which has been a theme of this administration, starting from the Afghanistan withdrawal. You had American citizens stuck in Afghanistan and in other portions of very dangerous portions of that country. And at the end of the day, a lot of those people had to rely on private resources, not the current government, whose sole job is to protect American citizens. This is such a symbolic and tragic episode, illustrating that difference in leadership.
Oh, and I think you could point to the Secret Service failure to protect President Trump, 2 assassination attempts. The fact that the Secret Service itself has been distracted with other things on its agenda is another example of how I think the government is failing the American people. The American people are paying a lot of their tax dollars to go and fund this bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. They have basic expectations when they're in a time of need like this for agencies like FEMA to step up and deliver. And when they can't, I think that's why you see trust in government go down to the level that it is today. I think that the other thing to point out here, as you so rightly said, is there are all number of distractions that we have. There's obviously a war going on in the Middle East. It's questionable whether Joe Biden is in command and really understands what is going on there, whose side he's on. You obviously have a vice president who is distracted by the campaign, may not be paying full attention to making sure the government is operating most efficiently. And so at the end of the day, I think the American people are left with big questions as to who's running things and who's calling the shots in Washington, D.C.
And once we get to the question, and once we start looking at the faces who are supposedly running our country, it becomes a question of competency. It's not even efficiency. Efficiency is even asking too much. At this point, we're just asking, can these officials and these agencies, can the DOJ, can the FBI, can FEMA, can our executive branch, can it do its basic job? And the fact that we have to ask that question of so many institutions right now seems to be a fairly dangerous series of questions that we as American citizens have to ask, considering Iran is lobbing missiles into Israel right now.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.